What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? It is a Thursday Gridiron show. We have our special analysts today. We have Connor. Connor, how you doing, Connor? I can't hear you.
That's why we do this live, folks. I had it on mute. But how's it going, big brother?
We have Alex, other Alex. I don't know why I called him other Alex.
What's up?
We have movie guy Alex. Inside joke, but movie guy Alex.
What's up? How you doing, big brother?
And then we have the legend himself, Patriots' biggest number one fan, Tom Brady's number one fan, Joe Judge's number one fan. Bill, how you doing, Bill? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
Doing good. It's man, I'm back. Feels good to be back. Feels great to be back, actually. But unfortunately, there's no Thursday night football games. But there is games on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Wait, no. Is that this week?
Yep, Monday.
Yeah, Rams
Rams
game, right?
Cardinals.
We have our first fifth game on Monday as well. So because ESPN needs some time as well. We're gonna talk about that right now. We have some great stuff to talk about. We're gonna be talking about the Saturday night games particularly. But first, I just want to go briefly over the firings, and I'm gonna go kind of go on a semi Stephen A. Smith rant on one of the firings. So we have the victims of Black Monday. Rick Spellman, he's out of here. Mike Zimmer, he's out of here. Matt Nagy, he's out of here. Ryan Pace, out of here. Brian Flores, out of here. Gettleman, he retired. Well, let's be honest. He's out of here. Lions fired their offensive coordinator, Anthony Lynn. He's out of here. Joe Judge, he's out of here.
Nah. Hey. Goodbye.
The Giants is so trash. All right.
Sorry.
But this firing kind of took me by surprise, but also it really pointed out how crappy this organization really is. Just today, breaking news, just as of 4 hours ago, David Culley was fired by the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
1 year guy. Now, before we talk about the Texans, let's talk about how did we get here? It all started when they made the big mistake. Well, actually, no, it started way before that, when the NFL decided to give Houston a team called the Texans and give it to the McNairs, and that's it. They've just been screwed ever since. But moving forward from that, the Texans thought it'd be a good idea to hire a Bill Belichick alumni, Bill O'Brien, because unfortunately these teams don't learn that when you hire somebody from Bill Belichick's reign, it doesn't end up so well. And let me tell you, this dude ended the organization, like the way he left this organization in peril. He left it in such a terrible, terrible spot. He traded away their best wide receiver, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, for David Johnson and a bag of chips. They traded all their draft picks just to get Laramie Tunsil. And then they fired him, and then David Culley coming in from the Ravens, and he had to inherit all this mess with basically no draft picks, no money, I believe, just to and also their starting quarterback just that he decided that he doesn't want to play. and some other stuff that's been going on with him. But I don't believe that. That's up for discussion another time. They fired him after 1 year. Like, this just proves how dysfunctional, how just bad management the Houston Texans truly are. Why would you fire a guy? Like, mind you, no one wants to go. I guarantee you, no one wants to coach for the Texans after the way Bill O'Brien left.
Mm-hmm.
No one wants to coach for those guys. And the way he left, and like I said, the way he left it was such a bad thing. They were lucky to hire David Culley in the first place. And now they're at the same position that they were at last year. Because there's how many teams are that need a head coach? How many teams? You have the Giants, Broncos, Bears, Vikings, Dolphins,
Raiders,
Jaguars.
6 teams, might be more.
Raiders.
But we'll discuss Raiders in a few. But 6, maybe 7 teams in need of a head coach. You had the Texans on there. I guarantee you, all those spots sound good. Besides Houston, terrible CEO, terrible president, terrible GM, and just all around just terrible organization. Like, Roger Goodell, I know you're not watching this, but if you are, get him to sell the dang team.
Tell us how you really feel, Eric.
The only one I can think of that's worse than them is Washington. But out of that, they're close too. I'm done.
Houston, we have a problem.
Literally, bro. Like, literally. This organization is just so freaking bad. Like, it's ridiculous.
Could I put in a few words for poor Mr. Now I even forgot his name. I had a brain fart. What the hell is the guy that just got
Dave Culley?
David Culley.
Yeah, Culley. I feel so bad for him because when you look, I mean, nobody thought this team would be a playoff team this year. You don't have Deshaun Watson playing, and you have to start a rookie QB who was a 4th-round quarterback for most of the year. But they were able to compete in most games near the end of the season. Yeah, they got blown out, a couple times early in the season. Everybody was, thinking they were a joke. But, I think it's unfair to fire them this early, especially with how good they've been playing the last couple of weeks. They upsetted the Chargers. They beat the Titans, who are the 1 seed. They won some big games. They're not the worst team in the league, not even the worst team in the division, So I think it was a shame that they fired him. And, it makes me think that maybe they did this only because Brian Flores is on the board now. When we thought about Deshaun Watson, he really wanted to go Miami. And one of those biggest reasons was because of Brian Flores. And he also wasn't a huge fan of, the head coaching hire previously. So it makes me think, is this their last ditch effort at trying to keep Deshaun Watson potentially? So
that's a good point. I mean, if they are smart enough to actually go that route, okay. I'll take back a little bit of what I said. I mean, Texas is still a bad organization, but still.
Well, they probably won't get him, let's be honest.
Yeah, like,
let's just look at it that way. But if we're really looking at it, this really just doesn't come down to Dave Culley. Like, you never want to see a coach in their first year as a head coach get fired. Not at all. But was he a good coach? Definitely not. But he was the least of their problems. This all comes down to management and ownership, and they have squandered this franchise. This franchise is burning down to the ground right now. And honestly, it's really getting to a point where it doesn't seem like not only any coach wants to go there, it's like no player would want to go there either right now. A big change needs to be made, and you're not going to get it done this offseason. It could take a couple of years.
At least with Jacksonville, you have Trevor Lawrence and you have some good pieces.
You have good pieces,
Yes.
Texans, you got Brandon Cooks. And
Who got beat up by Malcolm Jenkins? Let's not forget about that.
Yeah, we can't forget about that.
And got his 6,000-yard season in 8 years that everyone forgets about. But, poor Brandon.
It doesn't matter. He still got beat up by Malcolm Jenkins, okay? Like, it happened on live television. Millions of people saw that. I just got to say it.
I mean, he didn't even see it coming, let's be honest.
Yep.
I think they're going to mess up and hire a first-year head coach, and that's going to just put them back even further.
I heard they might hire Josh McDaniels from New England, and you saw how he failed before.
But Alex, what's going to happen. This happens every year. Josh McDaniels gets talked about for a possible head coaching position, but he ain't going anywhere. We all know he's waiting for Uncle Bill to croak so he could become the new head coach.
Mm-hmm.
He is waited. But we all know that's not going to happen because we know Bill Belichick's going to be coaching from a Gurney if he has to.
But I don't even know what the appeal is with Josh McDaniels, honestly, because
me neither.
It's because Nick Caserio, their GM, has ties to the Patriots. That's why.
But when you look at how he did have a head coaching opportunity. He was the Denver head coach, and he drafted Tim Tebow. Let's not forget about that. He's not head coaching material. I don't see it.
But the thing is, and Eric just said this, the Belichick coaching tree, it has this ooh, he worked under Bill Belichick. Ooh, he worked with Tom Brady. Ooh. It has this, it's like the idea of someone like a Josh McDaniels or a Dave Culley or a Matt Patricia or just recently Joe Judge. And just recently Joe Judge, it's like the idea of it is more appealing than the actual result. Look, and Brian Flores too, he worked under Belichick, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right? Look at Brian Flores.
But Brian Flores is arguably should not have lost his job. I mean, that was
No, because I remember saying on Monday on the Sports Insanity podcast, shameless plug for that. I said, and this was before Judge got fired, I was saying, how come someone like Brian Flores, who started off 1-7 and then won 8 of the last 9 games, be unemployed, but someone like Joe Judge, who is literally the biggest idiot on the planet, still have a job? This was before Judge got fired.
I think Giants fans are somewhat of the Did I say out loud?
No, but here's what I'm going to say. And also, Eric Bieniemy apparently worked under Belichick as well. But anyway,
no, he was only Andy Reid.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, because I just got that text from someone about that. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, it's but look at, we'll leave Flores out of this, but look at David Culley, look at Matt Patricia, look at just, the other day, Joe Judge, all worked under Belichick. And what happened? They all sucked. And it's again, Josh McDaniels, I'm willing to, if he goes to any team, I'm willing to give McDaniels the benefit of the doubt. Because he was, actually, I did look up that he was in New England, then went to Denver.
Yeah.
Got fired, then was offensive coordinator, I think, with the Rams when they were in St. Louis, and then went back to New England. But, since he has head coaching experience, maybe. But don't forget what happened, that whole blunder with Indianapolis back at the end of after the 2017 season when he was supposed to be the head coach, And then, like, literally the day before he was supposed to be presented,
He pulled a Belichick.
He pulled out and said,
Pulled out.
and said, yeah, I'm staying in New England. Sorry. But the thing is, it's like the people from the Belichick tree, I think the idea of it is more appealing than the actual result.
All right, so one last thing before we move on here. I was listening to Pat McAfee. And he was saying he was talking about how Joe Judge got fired. And he was saying how they all kind of like end up like being I was told not to curse, a-holes on the screen. I'm sorry. But they act like big a-holes in the locker room. And they end up losing games. They lose players in the locker room, and that's basically how it all comes to be. And teams don't seem to get that, but hey, we do. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about the wild card weekend. Let's go first with the Raiders. The Raiders. And the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals. So let's talk about this Raiders team, man. Like, you really gotta give it up for them. I was rooting for them to make the playoffs because they really deserved it after the heck of a season they just had, bros. Like, you had the Gruden grinder himself, John Gruden, get fired practically beginning of the season.
Yeah, like week 4, I think, right?
Yeah, week 4. And when you think it doesn't get worse, you have freaking Henry Ruggs, that crappy human being, and we're just kind of like, his issue. But I'm pretty sure that could have like really caused something. So it cause something stir in the locker room. Injuries, COVID, all this other stuff, but they still somehow managed to make it to the playoffs, and they are competing to make it to go to LA and try to win the Lombardi. How do you has Rich Bisaccia, did I say that right? Rich Bisaccia done enough to keep his job? Or do they go another route?
I personally think you go another route with him, just because this is for the past 20 years in the NFL. He has either been he's been an assistant coach and special teams coordinator. This is the first time he's ever been a head coach, and it's interim, of course, but he did go 7-5. John Gruden went 3-2, so he struggled to get to this point. But he's more of a guy who wants to root on his players and like motivate them and stuff too, which is great. But in order for them to actually build off of this year and have a future, you need to go after a more established veteran coach already. And he's not that for them right now. I am happy to see that he actually, what this team has done, considering what you just said, with the whole Gruden problems, the whole Henry Ruggs issue, which easily, and injuries as well, easily could destroy a team. But to me, this was more about Derek Carr leading than Rich Bisaccia as head coach. That's how I look at it.
I agree. Yeah.
I agree with Alex too, and I just feel like I hear a couple of new reports coming in, and I heard that he's more of a vocal leader and not really a like pen to paper leader. He's not the one designing the plays, not the one like calling the plays or anything. More just the vocal guy, and that's fine for right now. But they need somebody that could help turn their team around. So maybe you go with. I think ideally they should go with defensive coach, Like offensively, I think they have good enough pieces. They could beef up their wide receiver core a little bit. But they have Hunter Renfro, Waller, Jacobs, Carr. You have a good side on offense. Defense, that's where they've been struggling. And also it comes down to Mike Mayock too. Let's not forget this guy was supposed to be a draft analyst for years and years. And he was like everybody was saying he was like one of the best draft analysts. He gets hired with Las Vegas and he hasn't really drafted well. Arguably the year, that draft with Henry Ruggs, you look at that draft, there's only one guy on that roster, still on that roster, that he drafted. And that was only 2 years ago. So I think it both comes down to finding a coach that has experience, is a defensive coach, and, somebody that is in a system that already drafts really well. So maybe you go with a Todd Bowles in Las Vegas.
That's fair. I honestly was thinking maybe a Gary Kubiak. Try to get him out of retirement. He did help the Broncos win Super Bowl. And Derek Carr's a veteran at this point. And he's a great leader. I think the Raiders are just they always feel like that one-step team. Derek Carr's first playoff appearance. How do you think he will do against this Bengals team?
Well, this is one of the, to me, this is going to be a great matchup for him because this Bengals secondary, I believe, has given up the 6th most passing yards per game. So when you actually look at it, Derek Carr, this is the perfect opportunity for him and Hunter Renfro to build on this connection and show, and Waller, of course, because I'm pretty sure Waller shred this team, even though Raiders lost last time to the Bengals, that Waller shred this team for like 110 yards, 120 yards. And this is the moment for that offense to shred that defense, because that defense is really depleted right now. And it's a shame because the Bengals actually do have a bright future, but that defense is something that they need to work on. And this is the perfect moment for Derek Carr to show why they've been in this position to make the playoffs. It's because of him and what he's been able to do offensively. This had nothing to do with defense this year. This was all offense.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think this game will be decided alone. Which team wants it more?
Mm-hmm.
And before we move on, let's talk about the Bengals. How bright is their future, man? Like, if someone said the first week that the Bengals was going to be the number 1 seed in the AFC North with the Steelers, the Browns, and the Ravens, if someone told me that the Bengals was going to win the AFC North, we'd probably look at them crazy. And they proved everyone wrong. Proved everyone wrong from the jump. Joe Burrow is that guy she's just going to just killing everybody. Great offensive presence. And then you have, man, why am I blanking on his name? You have great offensive weapons. Jamar Chase.
T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd.
Beast.
Joe Mixon.
Boyd, beast. Tyler Boyd, beast.
Yeah.
Just that team is literally an offensive machine.
Mm-hmm.
They just need to fix the O-line. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
And, literally.
I mean, even when we look back at, draft time, everybody was like, why the hell would you take Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell? And a lot of people were like, that offensive line is going to crumble. Terrible offensive line. But now don't we look all like idiots? Honestly, after, but that connection between those two is going to be a deadly connection for, at least, let's say the contract, I think both will get re-signed whenever their contracts do come up. Obviously Chase a rookie and then Burrow a second year quarterback. But once you get down the line, these guys could be together for like 10 or so years. That's scary. And I really, with confidence, can say that I could see this team winning a Super Bowl in the next 10 years with that combination between those two. But yeah, like they're a really good squad. Definitely need to beef up that defense and that offensive line.
Yeah, they just you go, Bill.
I agree with Connor 100%. I think that, but answering your question, I think the Bengals' future is pretty bright. I think they're gonna get past this first round at least. But this is a team like who, Joe Burrow, hands down, is going to be comeback player of the year. Can we all agree on that? He's going to be comeback player of the year.
Yeah, 100%.
Who broke his leg last year and then comes back and just has a hell of a season. Him and Jamar Chase are just such that quarterback and wide receiver duo. They're just fantastic. And I think the Bengals, I think they can actually get past this round. And I know Alex is going to disagree with me because he just said that, but I think they can get past this round at least. And I don't know what's going to be the outcome after that.
What would I disagree with you with?
That the Bengals would win because you just said about the Raiders winning.
I think Bengals are going to win this game regardless.
Oh, really? Did?
Yeah.
Okay,
no,
I must have misinterpreted that, buddy. I'm sorry.
I said this was going to be a great game for Derek Carr to prove why he belongs.
Okay, I misinterpreted that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, but Bengals offense, when you look at their future, this is an incredible offense. You have Joe Burrow, 4,600 yards, 34 touchdowns in 16 games, didn't play the 17th game. You have Jamar Chase, broke the rookie receiving record. You have T. Higgins, coming off a great sophomore year right now. Then you have Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd would have been 1,000-yard receiver. He would have been if it wasn't for the other two. But then you have Joe Mixon. And Joe Mixon, well, I believe finished second in the league in rushing yards, 1,200 yards. And the crazy part is the offensive line is a huge problem right now. But because if you look, Joe Burrow played 16 games and he got sacked 51 times and led the league in being the most sacked quarterback. So the O-line has been an issue. But despite that, guys like Mixon, guys like Burrow, they have gotten the job done. And this offseason, sure, you want to fix on that secondary. You just got to grab the pieces to fill the gaps defensively when you really look at it. But this offseason, draft-wise and free agency, you really need to be focused on getting those offensive linemen because then you can build. Arguably, we couldn't see the next greatest show on turf with this offense.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah, that's the thing. This team, no matter what, they can score 40 on anyone, like 30 on anyone. And that's the thing. Like, if the Raiders or any other team that plays the Bengals, if the Bengals continue, if they can stop that team from getting more than 28 points, then I don't see I don't see the Bengals winning those said games just because of how dependent they are on that high scoring offense.
Yeah. So we covered a lot here with the Raiders and Bengals. We'll talk about predictions a little later on, but let's talk about the game after this one. The Patriots and the Bills. The Patriots are going to Bill's house, and they are going to beat him up. It's going to be a good game. It's
what did I do now?
The Patriots. It's going to be a good show, guys. I can't wait to watch it. I got front row seats. I'm so excited. No, that's that. Even as a matchup, I'm sure I would love to see, and probably Patchy and Odops as well. But we love you, Bill.
I love you too.
They're playing the Bills of Buffalo, the Buffalo Bills. Recap of the first two meetings. It all started in Buffalo. Patriots went to Buffalo, and Mac Jones had a heck of a game. He had a really good game.
2 of 3 for 19 yards.
All he needed.
Okay. And the Bills won. Like that game was mostly just running. Josh Allen tried to throw a lot, but he just fell short a lot.
because of the wind, right? Wasn't it
Yeah,
that
it
the
was.
windy
I think it was a snowstorm, a windstorm, or
it,
whatever.
it was it was just a huge wind and rain
Yeah, it
the whole
was. It
game.
was a really bad storm, but the Patriots outbuild the Bills, and then I think the Bills must have had a Michael Jordan moment because it was like because once they saw Mac Jones' stat line, it was like, look, I took that personally. And I feel like they took it personally because the Bills came back and beat the Patriots at Gillette Stadium. So, which team has more pressure on them, the Patriots or the Bills?
I'm going to say the Patriots
Hmm.
because this is like the first playoff berth of the post Brady era in New England, because Bill Belichick is under a lot of pressure right now because, and I said this last week when we were when me, Alex and Connor, I was talking about this last week. Last year, Tom Brady had to prove when he went down to Florida, when I saw his squid drugs, I got a restraining order from that. When he went down to Tampa and he wanted to prove, I don't need Bill Belichick to win a championship. And look what happened. He proved I don't need Bill Belichick. And now Bill Belichick, I think in a way is trying to prove I don't need Tom Brady. I can win a championship without Tom Brady. So I think there's a lot of pressure on Belichick, and there's got to be a lot of pressure on Mac Jones too, rookie quarterback. And so, but overall, I think there is more pressure on the Patriots, but the Bills, winning their second consecutive AFC East, and there's probably expectations for them to go to the AFC Championship game again this year. But like I said, I think there's more on the Patriots than there are on the Bills. Gentlemen?
Yeah, I will say, Bill, you made some great points on that. You really brought up, like, when you talk about the Patriots and how, in reality, the only thing when you look at why is there pressure on the Patriots is because Tom just won a Super Bowl. Now it's time for Bill to go win a Super Bowl. But for me personally, I will disagree with you on this. I'm going to say there's more pressure on the Bills just because when you really look down, this is 3 years in the making now for the Bills. You make the playoffs, okay, you make rookie mistakes a couple years ago. That happens with Josh Allen, a rookie quarterback. Then then the next year, you make it to the AFC Championship. Now we're in a position where they won the AFC East, and not just that, they have this expectation not only go to the conference championship, but it's riding high on Josh Allen to actually get over the hump, limit his turnovers in the playoffs, and actually get to the Super Bowl at least for this team. And when I really just look at it that way, the Patriots, the reason why I don't think there's as much pressure is everyone expected these couple years to be a rebuilding year for the Patriots. And right now, they already exceeded our expectations, NFL experts and analysts' expectations. So when you really look at it, the future is bright for the Patriots moving forward. And I don't think anyone expected them to make a run this year, but everyone expected the Bills to make a run at the beginning of the year. And right now, they might be in a position to do so. That's just how I look at it.
Yeah, and Alex, I'm gonna say one more thing, and the other guys can come on in. But I am going to agree with you because this has been 3 years in the making, like you said. And I think because for the last God knows how many years in the AFC East has been Brady's division. It's been Brady's. It's been Belichick's. It's been New England's division. But when Brady left, and everybody, and me, Lawrence Patchman Lang, and Danny Boy Reginald were all saying this is going to be now that Brady is in South Beach, it's now time, it's Buffalo's division. So, and I still personally think there's more pressure on New England, but you make some very good points too, because now New England is how, this has been expected. This is Buffalo's division, and they've won the division 2 years in a row. But now New England is like, hi, remember us?
Yeah.
I would like to bring a light into this. I'm going to have to agree with Moving Man right here. I think there's way more pressure on Buffalo because Buffalo has always been this outcast. They've been the redheaded stepchild of football. Period. Like they're considered the only New York team technically, but yet they're still considered the ugly stepchild of football. And so seeing them succeed is like, it's either like, if they succeed, it's like, wow, we shocked the world. If they don't succeed, it's like, oh, it's just Buffalo. And so pressure is really, really high because it's either you're doing really good and you're going to make it and actually redeem those 4 years that you made the Super Bowl and lost, or you're going to be that redhead stepchild that we all know and don't care about too much.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
mention
throw
you have. Sorry, Connor. You have the Patriots coming back, the Jets, hopefully coming back, and the Dolphins. And the Jets and the Patriots coming back. So the Bills, they are in trouble. This is do or die for them. All right, Connor.
Okay, cool. I'm going to have to agree with your points there. Also, too, we got to consider, you mentioned how it's the only team in New York, but also it's a small market. Buffalo, you got Orchard Park. That's a really small market. So, like, teams in small markets, they're not supposed to really succeed. You see a lot of them fail. The only one that a big mention that we could say is obviously Green Bay, but they're their own different anomaly. But I have to say
they kind of get it passed because they won the first Super Bowl too.
Yeah, that too. But yeah, I think not only is there more pressure on the Bills, but I think this is a lot of pressure on Josh Allen. First off, this is when we look at their competition, the Chiefs. This was a year that the Chiefs weren't the Chiefs that we know them, and they weren't dominating. They didn't clinch the 1 seed like week 15, you know what I mean? Like they clinch, with Pat Mahomes. They're supposed to be the dominant ones. So this was supposed to be the year that the Bills step up. And in the year that they were supposed to step up, they not only lost games like Jacksonville and really competitive games like the Bucs and stuff where they could show what kind of team they are. But they lost those type of games, and they almost lost the division. I believe it was Bill that mentioned, to a team that, was supposed to be a playoff team, or not supposed to be a playoff team, in the Pats. But just to, just finish my point, I think the largest pressure is obviously on Josh Allen. Not only is this an opportunity to show him that he's a top 5, a top 3 quarterback, but also this shows that he's the best quarterback in his draft. If you look at the AFC field, this is the first year we don't see guys like Lamar Jackson. We don't see Baker Mayfield. We only see Josh Allen, from this 2018 class. So now this is a great opportunity to show he's the best quarterback in that draft, and show that, maybe what Josh Rosen said, there was a bunch of mistakes before him. Josh Allen could be the one to say that with a Lombardi trophy going back to Buffalo. So I feel like there's a lot of pressure. Also, too, just the forecast, not if they make it past this game against the Pats, they're probably going to have to play the Chiefs. Then after that, they might have to play the Bengals potentially, or the Raiders, who are high-powered opponents. It's going to be a tough road for them.
And they have to play the Chiefs in Kansas City if they do that.
Yeah.
Or Tennessee with King Henry returning, and
yeah,
that's scary.
I'd rather play the Bills. If I'm the Bills, I'd rather play the Chiefs in the divisional than the AFC Championship, though. Let's be honest.
True. That's true.
I saw it happen last year in the AFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
So What are the keys to both teams to win this game?
I think the biggest key first for the Bills is to run the ball. I originally I wasn't a huge fan of Singletary, but he's impressed me over the last couple of weeks. And if you give that man the ball, he seems very motivated and wants to get, those 100-yard games. And he wants to be that guy that nobody really thought he would be. They draft Zach Moss, they bring him in there. They try to bring Matt Breida in. They don't trust this guy, but I think he's going to be motivated, and I think they got to run the ball. Don't rely too much on Josh Allen. And then for the Pats, I think, just try to throw short, easy routes. Don't make it too tough for Mac Jones. It's his first playoff game. He's on the road against a divisional opponent that knows who he is. So that's what I would say for both teams. Just keep it easy for Mac Jones. Don't make it too tough for him. And give the ball to Devin Singletary.
Yeah, and just going off of that, because you brought up Devin Singletary, to me, this Patriots defense, we know them to be elite. They force some of the most turnovers we see this year as well, and for past years. But when it comes to stopping the run, they rank 22nd in the league, and in terms of rushing yards allowed per game. And when you really look at that, Devin Singletary has struggled immensely against this Patriots defense for some reason. And he needs to get off the ground, start strong, because when you really look at it, this game, Josh Allen has a lot of pressure, but you need to establish that rushing game. This is the Patriots' weakness right now, is the rushing game. And Devin Singletary, after having 2 poor performances against the Patriots, this is where he needs to step up and show why he's been able to get these past few weeks into this level where people are expecting him to overperform this week. And from the Patriots standpoint, Connor makes a great point with Mac Jones. This is his rookie. And the thing is, he has to trust his offensive line as well. They're one of the best offensive lines I've seen in a long time, and they can protect him. He needs to play smart, because 3 of the last 4 games they have lost. And if you look at Mac Jones in those 3 games, one of them was against the Bills, and he had a 40-something% completion percentage. Like, that was shows one of the biggest weaknesses is he gets frantic. He's playing like a rookie, and he needs to trust his O-line more. But on the defensive side for it, at least for the Patriots, Josh Allen, you want to focus on the run here, but when you're at the Patriots, anytime Josh Allen's getting ready, the way Josh Allen has been in his 4th year now, he has committed more turnovers again this year, took a huge step back from last year. And you need to provide pressure, and you need a guy like Matthew Judon to get that pressure early on Josh Allen, set the tone, and make sure that he can throw a pick early on. And it's going to frazzle him the rest of the game, because Josh Allen has shown to, when the moment comes to put off the best playoff performance, he has actually pulled off some of the worst, and he needs to start owning up to that and be a confident leader. But if Matthew Judon can put pressure on him, I don't see that happening.
Bill.
I think the thing is, Josh Allen needs to come out of the gate early, and just because, like what you guys were saying, this Buffalo team knows who he is. They know how he plays. But I think he needs to come out early and really, and I think the Patriots defense also needs to really cover Josh Allen and Devin Singletary like there is no tomorrow. But when it comes to Josh Allen, and, I do agree with Connor's points when he said, don't rely everything on Josh Allen, but I think Josh Allen needs to run the damn ball, according to my brother. But so I think if Josh Allen runs and gets through this Patriots defense, I think the Bills should be fine.
Alex?
Yeah, I think the main key is for the Patriots is running the ball effectively, like they did in the first game where Mac Jones had only 3 passes, because they want to give him confidence and not make it too difficult. And then for the Bills, they also have to run effectively too, whether it's Josh Allen or one of their other backs. But I think personally, even though the stats might not indicate it, that Singletary might be a better option for them along with Josh Allen, because they need to get him going and try to get him, to finally live up to his potential, in my opinion.
So I'm agreeing with all you guys. I think, for the Bills, they cannot. You've seen what happened last year when they relied on Josh Allen's arm to help him make it to the Super Bowl, and that cost them the game. And that was against the Chiefs. You're playing a defensive guru, like not even guru, like a defensive mastermind in Bill Belichick. He's gonna eat that up. He will eat that up. They need to run, and they need to run often. They need to run. They need to run often. Control time of possession. They're gonna have a good time. If Singletary, if it's not Singletary, then Moss, Breida. If they can get 50 yards by halftime, they could do it. They could do it. But if Josh Allen is throwing more, if there's more throws and runs, they're gonna have a bad. They're really gonna have a bad time. They're gonna have a bad time. Then you look at the Patriots. They need to don't go all out. Again, Mac Jones, he's a rookie, but also Mac Jones, he needs to chill out a little bit. Chill. When he played that game against the Bucks, he was calm as a feather, or whatever the saying is. He was calm. But then, as movie guy said, he's been frantic the last couple weeks. He needs to chill. Just chill, play the game. And don't make mistakes, and don't play. Just play your best game as you did in Alabama. So that semi wraps up for our show, but we still got 2 more segments we got to go over. The five. We need some more. We need some intro music or something like to jazz it up.
Five.
The
five time.
Connor, do that again. Do that again.
Five.
That's good.
We'll work on that for next year.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get a better budget. Donate to us, by the way. And if you donate to
send us money.
Donate to my bank account personally, and I will
share.
I will share the money. Share it. Anyway,
he'll share it. He will share it, folks.
Yeah, I'll share it. Myself. Anyway, the 5 players in the playoffs that you're excited to see. Alex, I'm gonna let you go first.
Which one, me or him?
Not you, movie guy, not you.
You guys fight over it.
Flip a coin.
No, other Alex. I don't know why I call him other Alex. I got it.
Probably the first one would be Derek Carr, because I've always wanted to see what he can do in the playoffs since his first time playing. Like he led the team with all the nonsense going on, off the field. He was able to lead them to the playoffs, so I'm excited to see how well he can do. And then the other guy too that I was just talking about, Devin Singletary. I want to see if he can step up during the Bills game to see if he can take the load off of Josh Allen's running abilities and his passing abilities. Also, I'm excited to see a bit kind of what Mac Jones can do, even though I don't know. I don't think he's going to be asked to do too much. I still want to see if he can remain poised in the pocket and not get frantic as we've seen in the last few weeks. I'm also interested kind of see what Jalen Hurts and the Eagles do, because I know they rested last week, but even though I hate the Eagles, I kind of want to see if Jalen Hurts, if he crumbles under pressure or if he delivers against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. And then lastly, I'm kind of interested to see what Trey Lance and the 49ers do. I'm hoping they'll win because I hate the Cowboys, but I want to see if Trey Lance can prove that he's a franchise quarterback against the Cowboys on Sunday.
Connor.
Okay, cool. So some of the guys that I got, number 5, for the Cardinals, Christian Kirk. I'm excited to see how this Cardinals team does and kind of who's going to pop off. I like Christian Kirk's game. I think he's a very underrated player, and I'm excited to see what he does. Number 4, I have for 49ers, Fred Warner. Once again, one of the most underrated defensive players in the league. You can make an argument probably best linebacker, if not a top 3 middle linebacker in the league. I think he's a captain to that defense. Next up for number 3, I'm going to the AFC side. I'm going with the rookie, Pat Freiermuth. He's been a very underrated part of that Steelers offense. I do like his potential. He kind of reminds me of a Jason Witten, honestly, just because he's kind of like a bigger, bulkier type guy. Doesn't really have the speed to make, sexy plays, but, you put him on a nice curl route, a nice drag route, he'll get you those yards you need. Then number 2, I got a Dallas Cowboy. And this guy's really going to be important to the team, especially with them losing their number 3 wide receiver for the rest of the season. That's Cedric Wilson. I think he's done a great job stepping up. He's going to have to be that number 3 guy next year when Gallup will most likely sign with a different team and be like a 2 or a 1 for another team. And yeah, I think he's a great fit. He has great plays, and honestly, he's been kind of Dak Prescott's number 1 target over the last couple of weeks. So definitely keep an eye for Wilson. And then number 1, we didn't talk about him at all so far, but it's the man, the myth, the legend. He came back this week out of retirement, 37-year-old. Chargers great, Ravens great, Rams great, Eric Weddle. I'm excited to see, what he does, honestly. He was one of my favorite players to watch. I want to see how big he's grown out his beard. To watch it be like a Santa Claus type beard. It's all white now. But I'm excited to see how he does, and hopefully he does a great job filling in for Jordan Fuller in that Rams squad that's very, a star heavy. So I'm excited to see how he plays.
Okay, Bill.
Okay, I really had to think about this. Okay, my first one is going to be, and this is in no particular order. I am going to go with George Kittle from the San Francisco 49ers. I think he's been a lot of people have been dismissing him because he's up there in years, but I think he's been having a pretty good season. And I think he can have a good game this week in Dallas. My next one is Josh Allen. I just really love Josh Allen. I think he's a great quarterback. I just love I just love watching him run. I can't wait to see that. My next pick is, I'm going off the top of my head here, folks, please. I'm going to go with what Alex said with Derek Carr, because Derek Carr has been really leading this team through the whole thing with John Gruden and Henry Ruggs. He's really been showing leadership, and they've really been dependent on him, and I can't wait to see him in the playoffs. My next one is TJ Watt from the Pittsburgh Steelers, even though they really shouldn't be in there, and they just should have taken the freaking tie. But anyway, because I love his...
Blame Brandon Staley.
But I love watching TJ Watt. He is awesome, and he is just someone you don't want to mess with. And my number 5 is Jamar Chase. My last one is Jamar Chase. Like I said, he is someone I get really pleasure out of watching. I think him and Joe Burrow, like I said, are just such a good team together. And for an honorable mention, Joe Burrow.
All right,
he's really having a comeback year.
All right. So the way I was looking at my 5 is I wanted to go for, these underrated guys that maybe a lot of people aren't like looking at, like, guys like Josh Allen, Derek Carr. So I kind of, and even TJ Watt. So I wanted to go with an underrated guy. And my first guy going off Steelers is Cameron Hayward. Now, now when you really look at it, he's 32 years old. People expected after last year that he declined. This year, he has the most solo tackles he's had in his career. He has 10 sacks, the second most he's had in his career. He has been a huge underrated captain captain next to TJ Watt on that defense. And he's actually going to provide incredible pressure. And when you look at this game coming up for them against Mahomes has actually thrown when getting hit, and he has thrown picks. And if he can get pressure to Mahomes, that could be a great opportunity for the Steelers. And Cameron Hayward is just a monster when you really look at his game this year. Next up for me, if he does play, I'm hoping he does, because today he was limited in practice. He didn't actually partake in practice, but Elijah Mitchell of the 49ers. Elijah Mitchell only played 11 games this year. And in 11 games, he has 963 rushing yards. He was averaging, like 87 rushing yards a game. He has been a complete monster. And when you look at his game, and the Niners had to adjust their game plan to Deebo Samuel taking over at times because guys like Elijah Mitchell were hurt. But if Elijah Mitchell can play this weekend, there's nothing more exciting than seeing a rookie running back out there, because they actually do not the difference between a rookie running back and a rookie quarterback is a rookie running back does not feel that pressure the way a quarterback does. They want to prove that they belong real quick, and they're all over the place. And Elijah Mitchell has been a huge threat this year for the Niners and their ability to get to the playoffs. Next up for me is Damian Harris of the Patriots, because when you look at that, he has been the best running back for the Patriots since LeGarrette Blount 5-6 years ago. And they're rushing the game this year. It's a lot of their games, especially that game that we saw weeks ago against the Bills, where where Mac Jones only threw 3 passes. Damian Harris got 10 carries, but in those 10 carries, he had over 100 rushing yards. He became a huge threat to the Bills. And part of this game plan should revolve around Damian Harris, especially if they make a run at it, because he's a guy because Bill's whole game plan always relies on killing that clock, drain the clock. We saw that in past Super Bowls. We've seen that. And Damian Harris is the threat for that. Next up for me is T. Higgins. When I think of T. Higgins, for me, when you look at receivers, he's like the Klay Thompson for a receiver right there on that team. He is that hidden, you know what I mean? You know what I mean, Eric? He's that hidden X factor for them. He's that hidden X factor for them. Because T. Higgins, rookie year had a solid rookie year. And then this year, he only played 14 games and he had 1,000 yards. He has 74 receptions. He actually was a huge threat. And it makes me wonder, even if Jamar Chase wasn't there, he would have been a bigger threat. So you need to look at him, because guys are going to be covering Jamar Chase all day. T. Higgins has got to get open right away and because he's a guy that can easily go off for a 50-yard touchdown just like that before you know it. And then the last guy to me, we don't think, and I think most people don't think of him underrated, but Von Miller no one has really talked about what he's done this year. And, beginning of the year, he was strong with the Broncos the first few games, and then he fell off a string of games, and then he gets traded to the Rams. He had troubles early on, but then he's been strong the last 4 weeks. He's actually been hot. He has gone to the quarterback. He has been great in stopping the run. And Von Miller, you think of the Rams defense, obviously, you think of Aaron Donald, but when you look at Von Miller has 9.5 sacks this year, and he has 19 tackles for loss, which is top 5 in the league. All the other guys that rank in the top 5 are guys who've gotten 20 sacks, 17 sacks, 18 sacks. Von Miller has actually shown that he has been a threat at stopping the run, and that's going to be a huge key, especially in NFC when you look at the running backs he's going to be up against. He's going to be up against James Conner if he's healthy. He's going to be up against, guys like Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon if they make it that far, for all we know. And when you look at Von Miller, the key to their playoff success is going to rely a good amount on that defense, especially because, Matt Stafford has taken a step back in recent weeks. But, Von Miller has to do what he does best, and he has to get to the quarterback and show why he's going to make another run potentially and get his second ring.
Good list. So I had I have kind of a mixture of list. So number 1 is same as Movie Man. Elijah Mitchell. I think he's going to have a really good. He should have a really good game against the Cowboys. I'm excited to really see him. He's definitely shown flashes of being great. I'm really excited to see him. Number 4, TJ Watt. He should be defensive player of the year, in my opinion. Strong defensive foot presence. Number 3 is Mike Evans. You had the Bucks had all these big time players. You had Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, AB, Gronk, Kevin Drake, Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, and then Godwin got hurt. Get well soon, brother. AB turned into the clown that he is. Fournette is hurt. Jones is questionable, maybe. So, Evans, this is your time to show up. Now there's no other guy. This is it, bro. This is it. And he's proven that he is a really good wideout. But this is his time to prove it, man. Number 2 is Alan Lazard. He's definitely grown to being that number 2 receiver that he should be. He's definitely making a lot of better plays. He's been doing better catches. Like, he needs to know that Adams is going to be covered back and forth. Granted, it's hard to cover Adams as is. But Lazard needs to be that next man up. If they want to lift that Lombardi in February, Lazard needs to step up. And one, I have Le'Veon Bell. I think it's time for him to show up. I think it's time for him to prove that he still got it. So that's my list. So we're going to do something a little bit different, if you guys don't mind. We're going to do predictions, but we're going to go backwards. We're going to start with Monday night and Sunday. Monday night, Sunday night, blah, 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 and then on to Saturday, and then Saturday games, which we were talking about. So, Monday Night Football, you have the Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals, going up against the LA Rams, 8:15 on Monday night. Who wins, Cardinals or Rams?
Rams.
I'm going with the Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm going with the Rams on this one. And I think the score will be 28-21 in the end. You got it right.
I'm going with the Rams here as well. The Cardinals have been falling off lately. But yeah, I'll go with I'm going 31-24 for that game.
I'm going with the Rams as well. I think it's going to be a blowout-ish. Well, not blowout. 24 20. Actually, no, 27-10. 27-10.
I think it's going to be, I didn't give my score prediction. I'm sorry. I think it's going to be Cardinals 27, Rams 24. I think it's going to be a close game.
I'm going to say Rams 27, Cardinals 20.
Okay.
All right. Steelers and Chiefs.
Well,
save my prediction for last.
Well, I'll tell you this. Kansas City, I don't know if anyone's seen the NFL memes page.
Oh, yeah. I'm loading that up right now.
This Sunday will be Ben Roethlisberger's retirement party.
I don't know if you guys can see that, but
it's going to be Ben Roethlisberger's retirement party. So you know what? I think this is going to be Ben Roethlisberger's last NFL game. I'm going Chiefs 28, Steelers 17.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs are going to be motivated to prove everyone that they're still the Chiefs that, we've seen the last couple of years. I think it'll be 31-14. I think it'll be a pretty handed win for them.
Yeah, Chiefs got hot right at the right time, second half of the year. And Steelers are lucky to be in the playoffs. They really are. They should just be happy for making it, and that the Chargers and Raiders didn't end in a tie. But when you really look at it, Chiefs should dominate early on this game, and this probably will be a blowout, and I'm going to say 35-17 Chiefs.
What was? I think I just got a notification on my phone. Upset alert!
What?
Upset alert! Upset alert! I am going. Y'all laugh at me. I'm going because you see, last time NFL Memes posted something like that, it was 2007, 2016, 2017, and it was like, so season finale of the Eagles this Sunday. They end up winning. Season finale of the Eagles end up winning. Season finale of the Eagles won Super Bowl. I think this is the same thing. I think the Steelers are going to win this game. Upset alert. Upset alert. 24-23 Steelers.
Anything's possible. I mean, last week picked 2 upsets. They came to truth. You know, all of us didn't pick the Jags last week. Jags pulled up the upset. We were all crapping on the Jags, and so who knows? Anything's possible.
All right. Sunday evening game, the 49ers and the Cowboys. Who wins this game?
Niners.
As the Cowboys fan here, I'm very scared about this game. I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna be a really, really close one. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna just, So I'm gonna be faithful, take my boys, but I'm gonna say let's say 24-21.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough matchup. This was one that I was really going back and forth on, but honestly, the Niners got hot at the right time, and Cowboys, they've kind of looked slow a few of the weeks, except for last week against the Eagles. I will say that, but
They're
this
playing
is
their backups.
Yeah, this is going to come down to even without their backups. Even with their backups.
Okay, I just want to throw my 2 cents.
Oh, no! I'm doing the prediction here, Connor. Come on now.
Okay,
so I will say
I
Niners. No. Niners will win this game 27-24.
Let's not forget last week they didn't have Trayvon Diggs, didn't have Micah Parsons, didn't have all these guys.
You mean they didn't have a guy who can give up 500 yards in the year like that?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, but if you look at the stats that Lattimore had when he won Offensive Rookie of the Year, they're about comparable, actually. That's a fun fact, though. But
this is Trayvon's second year. So,
but if you look at the touchdowns from last week's game, how many of them were from starters? How many of them were from Cowboys starters? You're acting like we played our whole starting lineup, and we also crushed them too with our backups. Okay.
We'll argue about this later. And
sorry, I had to defend my team for a second.
Okay. Cowboy fans are the worst. We know that.
Okay, you know what?
Giants fan.
As a Giants fan, I want to see the Cowboys lose. I want to, but there is a difference of what I want to see and what I think is going to happen. I honestly think, and hold on.
Hey, hold up. I got to record this.
As much as I want to see the Cowboys lose, I think the Cowboys are going to win this game. And that is an objective point of view. They're going to be in Dallas. Micah Parsons is going to be back. And trust me, I hate to say that. I basically not really, but I basically almost threw up in the bin. But I want to see the Niners win, but I think the Cowboys are going to win. And I think it's going to be 24-20 Cowboys. Hold on again.
Okay, now I'm convinced that Bill's a Cowboys fan.
Oh,
and
no.
a Patriots fan.
No.
All right. So I said this earlier in the year. If the Cowboys make it to the playoffs, they're going to win the first game. I still have that belief. I think the Cowboys are going to win this game. Not easy one, not convincing, but I think they're going to really prove that they are a good team and not just a team. Give me the Cowboys 31-27. All right. Eagles and one. Let's just all say the answer in 3. 1, 2, 3.
Bucks.
Wait,
I'm taking
wait,
Eagles.
what?
Yeah, okay. This is okay. Going up to this week, I was thinking the Bucks, but hear me out. I hate the Eagles. I hate them with a passion.
Oh,
But
I hate him too.
with how bad the Bucks have been playing, they're without Antonio Brown. They're all banged up. From what I heard, I gotta check the forecast again. But what I saw recently was that it was supposed to rain in Tampa. And let's not forget, the Eagles are one of the best running teams. I think they are the best running team by yards per game. That suits a game that fits the Eagles better. That's just my thoughts. I wasn't too caught, but I thought about it a little bit and taking the Eagles.
Wow.
Whoa.
2 upsets in one night.
Yeah.
That's why you had my back earlier on me picking the Steelers. Okay, I see how it is. All right. I'm not gonna bag on you, but that just kind of surprised me.
Mhm.
All right. Now on to the games that we talked about. Patriots and Bills. Who wins it?
Bills. Close one. I would say like 24-20.
I'm going to look more not at the first Bills-Pats game, but the second Bills-Pats game. In that game, the Bills just basically manhandled that team. They scored on every single quarter. So I'm taking the Bills here. It's going to be a close one, but I think it'll be like, let's say 31-21.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Alex.
Looking at this game, the one thing that does worry me for Pats is that there's a lot of guys questionable for this playoff game. If you really look, there's a lot of guys on defense that are questionable too. So this is going to be a tough game. I don't think it's going to be slightly like last time, but I think Bills, Josh Allen in his 4th year, maybe this is like one of the steps going in the direction for them to make a run. I'll say no matter what, Bills will win this game in the end, and it's going to be a close one. I'll say 28-24.
I am going with the Bills as well. Because Josh Allen's going to be, hopefully Josh Allen can run the damn ball, and hopefully, quoting our dear friend Mark Halpern, aka Old Ops Guy. Shout out to Old Ops Guy. And he was texting me today. This is going to be a bloodbath. So I'm going to say Bills 31, Patriots 27.
I think so. Well, so we're all going for the Bills here.
Looks like
All right.
it.
So
Are you going for the Bills?
I think we just wrote the story for I think we just wrote the story for the Bills being I think we just wrote the villain story for the Patriots. I think Patriots will lose.
We just did.
I think the Bills are going to win 28-20. I'm picking the Bills. Let's go for it. Let's go to our last game that we talked about, which was the first game we talked about. Bengals and the Raiders.
This game to me, I think, is one of the more exciting ones to start out, just because I feel like this could be the shootout that we all want to see right now. And I think this is going to be the Bengals game in the end. And the way I look at it is it's going to be a close one, come down to the wire. It's going to be high scoring. I say 35-31 Bengals.
I think this is going to be a good one as well. I am going with the Cincinnati Bengals, and my final score will be 28-20.
I'm going with the Cincinnati Bengals here too. And just for the fun of it, why not have a shootout? I'm just going to throw a crazy prediction just because, why not? I'm saying 44-41 an OT field goal to win the game.
Dang you, Connor.
Just turn this into the Rams-Chiefs game a few years back.
It's going to be we'll
10-point difference there.
I'm going to say Bengals 34, Raiders 30 as my prediction.
Connor freaking still my prediction, kind of. But I'm going with the Raiders to win in overtime. 46-40. Gonna be a good game. All right. That's our show, guys. Check out this Sunday night sideline report at 10:30 or 11 o'clock, whatever on your local listings. Check out the Sports Insanity podcast. Great guys, funny guys. They know how to talk about sports. They know how to do business, and these are some great guys. So with Connor, Alex, movie guy, and Bill, this is your boy Big Brother signing off. Peace.
Good night.
Right.
And